This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Ben Settle, super practical.
I'm not telling people to have a mistress. I'm teaching you, learn the lesson from the people who have a mistress, because there's many business lessons that apply.
Pious.
There's a part in the book of Revelation where Jesus says, I want you either hot or cold. I'm spewing lukewarm churches out. And I think it's a good way to look at your list.
Romantic to his very core.
Once in a while, I'll give my girl a present, like a Snickers bar or something.
And totes tender.
If someone asks you to walk on eggshells, smash the eggshells and let the chips fall wherever they may.
Adored by feminists everywhere.
It takes a strong woman to admit when she's wrong.
Not a judgmental bone in his entire body.
I look at all the free information people give just on Facebook and I go, what a bunch of time hose.
Has a PhD in armchair philosophy.
In the land of dumbasses, the smartass is king.
You'll never meet a more sensitive guy.
If you really care about people, you shame the hell out of them. This is Ben Settle, the bensettle.com podcast. Now, Jonathan, I teased on the last episode, I teased something that this was going to be probably the most valuable podcast to date. Now, that's combining the last Ben Settle Show podcast and this podcast, all combined. I believe this one will be the most valuable to people who are smart enough to take advantage of it. Now, there's no secret tactic in it. I'm not going to teach you a secret word and a secret, way of using whatever. That's not what this is. This is all very principle based, but very few people do it. Those who do it they're way better off than those who don't do it. Let's just put it that way. It's just a shift in how you see how you're marketing. It's all it is. It's a huge shift, though. In fact, I will tell you the story about how this was, and it'll seem like common sense once it's said. People, I already know that, Ben. This wasn't really that valuable. Okay, fine. What's the term? Off you fuck. Whatever. But this to me was one. This really changed the way I think about pretty much marketing everything I ever do. And I've been working, like I said, last week I said, I've been working toward this for, a long time, over a decade, this specific thing. So I don't remember what year it was, but it was a long time ago, probably like 12, 13 years ago, something like that. I was in this like dry spell with copywriting work because I had a list and all that, but I wasn't monetizing it. I wasn't doing what I do now, mailing every day or any of that kind of stuff. I didn't even probably have an offer at the time. I think I was just, I just had I had like a gig where I was getting paid based on my ad sales and I was living off that, but I wanted more money and I needed more cash flow and all that. So I kind of reduced myself to writing articles for somebody. At the time, a prominent, I won't name them or anything, but they were doing this thing where they needed articles and they were paying me like, I don't know, $35 an article, something like that, John. I wasn't getting paid very much. And yet what I learned paid me, probably tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales ever since. So to me, it was like, I could have done it for free and I would have gotten enormous value out of writing these articles. So the articles were selling these, it was like some kind of, I forget what it was. It was some kind of combined continuity where like all these guys in Dan Kennedy's world kind of combined their newsletters into one product. And this was selling that. And so they sent me a bunch of these guys are work with Dan Kennedy. I didn't get to work with Dan Kennedy. I was working with the guy who worked for the guy who was dealing with these people. So I didn't deal with any. And, it's not like I had any insider secrets or insider conversations or anything like that. It wasn't like that at all. And they would send me these snippets from various No BS newsletters that Dan Kennedy wrote. Now, anyone who's read the old No BS newsletters that he wrote, like pre-2004, especially pre-2005, the older ones, the ones like from the 90s and stuff are just pure gold. This was back when only he did the newsletters. This is before he sold to Bill Glazer, and Bill Glazer kind of took over from there. And then I think he sold it to what's now GKIC. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's how it works. So I haven't seen the newer ones since I subscribed around 2012, but I kind of let my subscription lapse for whatever reason. But these are the old school ones when Dan did everything, and he did his own back pages, which were really deep thoughts and really good. Just good stuff. And I will never forget because I was writing the articles based off the information in these articles. I wasn't copying the articles, but I had to write emails not emails, but articles and emails. Now that I think about what was in those articles. One of the articles, Jonathan, and I'm very proud. I'm very lucky to have been exposed to this. And it was completely an accident just because I had this one client because I happened to be broke at the time, was Dan Kennedy extolling the virtues of owning your own media. Now, I don't know how I know this sounds really basic, but when you own your own media, You can't be shut down. You can't be censored. They can't deny you. They can't. It's not like Facebook where they can deny your ad. They can't impose. Nobody can impose rules on you. It's your media. You own that media. You can do whatever you want with that media. You can sell your own stuff to that media, or you can take advertising from other people and sell their stuff in that. It doesn't matter. But the point is this idea of you own the media. Now, it's not like you're going to own, MSNBC or something huge, or CNN or Entrepreneur Magazine or Facebook or platform, but you create your own media, and it takes time, and you build it up, and it starts with like an email list, but it's way beyond an email list. And just not too long ago, this was even more driven home when Google, Jonathan, I don't know if you knew this or not, but like about 6 months ago, Google got caught faking ad traffic.
Yeah.
They had to actually refund people. Now I was running AdWords I haven't been in a while, but that pisses me off. It's like, like that even was, and Facebook was doing the same stuff, and they will both continue to do it. There's a lot of click fraud that goes on these sites beyond just the incompetency of the platforms themselves. I don't think they're that reliable. I think they had their day. I think people can still use them, but it's not your media. They can kick you off. There's fraud going on that you can't control. Nobody can fraud you on your own media, right? When you send an email to your list, you can't get frauded by clicks or whatever, unless you're selling solo ads or something like that. But again, at least you own that media if you're the solo ad provider. But if you're buying solo ads, you don't own that media. Somebody could be frauding you. So here's my point of all this. What the idea is, and I've been doing this ever since, is always trying to build my own media platforms, not just one, but several, and as many as I can possibly do. And even the ones that people like laugh at me for doing, like they get like snicker when I do it because they don't understand it. And there's going to be some stuff I'm doing and will be doing in the future I'll be talking about too, that people will be like, what, Ben? Why would you even waste your time? Because I want to have as many of my own media platforms as I can. Some I can own, some are mine, but they're beholden to another media, so they're not completely mine. So I'll talk about some of those, but I'll go over a little list here of these media. First, your own website, which is obvious, right? Jonathan, I think we can all agree, like this is the most basic of all of them.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have your own website, I don't know. I mean, everyone, if nothing else, you should have your own website so that you can start collecting names to get leads for an email list or whatever. But that's an example of your own media. Nobody can take, unless your hosting company shuts you down, which could happen. So again, even that's not 100%. It's your media. You can run ads on your website for your stuff. You could accept paid advertising. You can do whatever you want. You can use third-party advertising like AdSense, which I wouldn't really recommend because I think there's a lot of fraud in that too. Just my opinion. If someone's happy to prove me wrong, they can. I don't care. I'm not going to use it anyway. But the point is this, a website is like the bare minimum here of your own media. Now, I think most people listening to this have their own website. So good. Congratulations. You at least have a media platform that's yours. A direct mail list is another media platform. Now, nobody can take your direct mail list away from you. Nobody can. Unless the post office like bans you from sending mail or something, nobody can take that direct. That direct mail list is actually the most valuable list you can have, in my opinion. Which, Jonathan, I know you have a print newsletter, so you have a direct mail list, and I have one too. I would like to actually grow mine. In fact, I'll tell you what I've been playing around with, and it's a little frustrating, is trying to find cold email lists or direct mail lists that I can get people to opt into my website to, which if you're in a consumer market or something like that, or if you're selling to brand new people or whatever, it's not that hard to do. But the kind of people I want, they're just not on direct mail lists that you can rent. I've asked two of the best direct mail guys on the planet, Doberman Dan Gallipou and Craig Simpson, this, and they both told me the same thing. Ben, you're going to have to go find internet marketers who have their own direct mail list who will rent those to you. And I don't want to have to educate people on that. So I'm probably not going to do it anytime soon. But the point is this, that is a media. If you have a direct mail list of your customers, that is a valuable media. And, don't look down on that just because, the internet, I'm a millennial and everything's digital. No, that direct mail list is far more valuable than any other media you'll have if you're building it right and if it's big enough. An email list is obviously your own media. Nobody can censor me other than like the spam filters and all that. And I guess Gmail and all that, they could potentially censor you. But the reality is an email list is very valuable media. It's not something that I like relying on any more than I do, which is why I'm building out other media platforms, why I'm trying to gain audiences on multiple other media platforms, by the way, Jonathan. I think email is the core thing for me. but I'm still building these other ones out. I still have a direct mail list, for example. I still have the next thing on my list, a podcast audience. This podcast is media that I own, technically. I mean, Jonathan could pull the plug as far as him helping me out and all that, but it's now that it goes through my website, which I own. And so I can put it on there. I could always just put some crappy one on, but I wouldn't do that. I always want Jonathan to do it.
Thank you.
So don't worry, Jonathan. You've got job security with me, all right? You got the job security. But just realize you're on probation, all right?
Yes, sir.
You get lippy with me, get an attitude,
Get flaky.
start to
Flick
start
me
to
off
get
your
sneaky,
shoulder.
start trying to piss me off, and you're out. And don't think you're the first. But a podcast is a great audience to have, and this is why I'm going to plug Jonathan's service here. Jonathan, what is the web? Let's give them your website. What is if they wanted to hire you like I do to produce their podcast? What's your website?
Go to thepodcastfactory.com and you'll figure it out from there.
Okay, so you go to thepodcastfactory. And there you go. There's another now. Is it free? No, it's going to cost you something, but you're building up your own media. And you can sell whatever you want on your podcast. I use my podcast to build my email list because to me, all roads lead there. But I could very easily switch that up and sell something else. I could take paid ads from people if I wanted to. I don't want to. And when people ask me, I just ignore them because I don't want anything to do with that. And I don't even do guests on here anymore. But I'm just saying, like, it is a media that you can use and you own it and it's yours. And it's just another thing to grow your audience with. Another one, and at the time of this recording, I will have already launched this. Or no, at the time I'm recording this, I will not have launched this. At the time you're listening to this, this should be launched, is I'm going to be starting a new Facebook group.
Oh, boy.
Now, I'm not going to say, yeah, and if you're on my email list, you would have already heard about it by now at the time you're listening to this, but not the time I'm recording it. But yeah, it won't be, it's not the same as El Bembo's Lair. It's completely different. It's actually more in tune with owning my own media than just being a Reddit forum like the last one was. Basically a Reddit forum. In fact, you know what I patterned that loosely based on was a friend of mine. This is way back in like 1999. My friend and I created this website called politicalmayhem.com because there was this left-wing radio host in Chicago we like to kind of troll. Like we'd call into his show and troll him, and we'd troll his website and his forum on his website. And we wanted to get all of his people onto our website so we could troll them one-on-one and just argue politics with them. So we created politicalmayhem.com, which was basically how the old El Bembo's Lair was very much based a lot on that, where it's just free flow conversations. I will set the agenda. Everyone else just kind of feeds on it like piranhas. And, that's what we did, which is still a very viable way to do it. And I'm amazed that more people haven't done it. And I'm especially amazed and a little disappointed that nobody, after I closed that group, picked up the ball and ran with it. Not necessarily the exact way I did it, but they could have. There was a ripe opportunity there for at least 4 or 5 people in there could have ran with it and grown their own groups very big off the back of my audience. But they weren't really, they weren't really.
They're not leaders,
say
bro. Come on.
It's not that I want to say they're not smart enough to do it. I just don't know if they could have done it if they didn't want to use their own personality, I guess is my point. There was one group that popped up that was like loosely named after it. And it was all, I guess it's all El Bembo's Lair people.
People you
which
kicked
is
out.
Fine. What was that?
People you kicked out.
Well, I kicked everyone out. So it's not like I kicked anyone out personally, like, just to get rid of them. I literally had to close the group. You have to kick everyone out. But they put it together, and I guess it's okay. I mean, I've heard that there was one person who told me that, it's just like, she was telling me how I like hurt a lot of people's feelings, I guess, when I closed that group, Jonathan.
Really?
I didn't. Yeah, apparently it really hurt some people's feelings.
Oh
some
my
people I think were
God.
just, I don't think most people had their feelings. I think most people were just a little disappointed because they liked going there and stuff. But there were a few people, I guess, who took it personally.
What?
And I didn't, I would never in a million years have thought that would happen, John. To me, it was just a group. It's like, it's get a life.
Get a
It's
life. Nice.
Get a life. It's a Facebook group. It's not, but that was the joke. That was real life to a lot of people, while the actual real life was like fake life. It was fun for a while, but it kind of like lost its, like, it got very boring to me after a while. And it's just boring now. I'm just
Tedious.
listening to all this horse crap in there from people. And so anyway, the new group I've got is different from that. It's similar, but different. And for example, it's a one-way conversation. I don't allow posting. They can comment, but no posting.
Nice.
Yeah, it's more in line with it's really just an extension of my email list.
Top of the
it's basically,
mountain?
I call it El Bembo's Abyss.
A bit.
Right? Because it's the abyss of my mind where all the ideas that don't make it into emails go into there. So basically.
Wow.
And it's funny because while you and I are talking about this, I haven't actually put it together yet. I just know what it's going to be. By the time this is going out, which is like around January 1st, I guess, or something.
No, this one is I believe this is December 24th, so this is the Christmas gift.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I guess you have something to look forward to next week. That's good. Or we'll switch this around in the order. I don't know. I might have to edit that stuff. Nah, screw it. We're going to keep it in there. The hell with it. This is going to go out. Well, Jonathan, please remind me, or maybe the audio guy listening to this, to put this as episode 53 and not 52. How's that?
53. Got it.
Or no, actually 54. Episode 54. That way it's well into the new year.
Final answer?
See how we just do this? Like we just do things on there. We don't even edit stuff out. We're just like, you listen to our brain farts. But anyway, so that's another thing. A Facebook group is your own media. I could have sold ads in there. I could have pimped myself out in there as a copywriter, consultant, whatever. I did sell a little bit. I didn't sell as much as I should have because I was having too much fun not selling. It was like one of these places. But, that's the thing. A Facebook group should absolutely be monetized. Dan Meredith does a great job of monetizing his, for example. I think he does an excellent job. I don't think his way will work for everybody. He might get pissed at me for saying that. But his is very much personality based around him wanting to post all the time. And I could never have done it. I mean, maybe I'm projecting here. I just couldn't do it his way. So I had to find my own way. But his teachings are top notch on it because he gives you the beacon to go toward. You don't have to do it exactly how he does it. He'll give you the beacon to go toward and you just make it your own. That's what I would do if I were you. But so definitely check out Dan's. And, Dan's a Podcast Factory podcaster, so you should be listening to his show anyway. And I believe his group is Coffee with Dan. Go in there and see what he's doing. Just observe it. Just realize if you're an introverted guy, you're going to have to change things around like I did. And if you don't want to post constantly or have people posting, you're just going to have to do it a different way. But at least he gave me a very solid foundation to go on. And I told him many times that, he's the reason I started a Facebook group like the one I started. And even though it was nothing like his Facebook group, he was the one that got me thinking about it because I watched him and I spoke at the same event once where I taught email, he taught Facebook groups. And I was like, holy crap, he just opened my mind to all these things. So kudos to Mr. Meredith. Another of your own media, although you won't own it, it's still your media while you have it, is a YouTube channel, which is something I've been slowly building up. Not very aggressively, but that'll be changing. And we put the podcast on there. It's not my YouTube channel that goes on, but it at least promotes me. But that is another way to do that. If I wanted to spend time putting all these episodes up on YouTube, which I don't want to do, and I was really into that, I would do it. I'm not much of a YouTuber, but I think it's good to have a YouTube channel. And you should put stuff on there every now and then. You should build that up, especially if you like doing video. That should be your thing. You could do daily videos instead of daily emails. Just realize that you don't control that platform. So ideally, you want to have videos hosted somewhere where you control it to as much as you can. But that's another idea of you owning the media. Social media as a whole, obviously. I mean, it's not just Facebook groups, but your social media presence is a media. How you use it is going to vary depending on you and your goals, but it is a media. You don't own it. They can kick you off, especially if you're more of a right-wing persuasion. Apparently, they're kicking those people off left and right, which, that's what, everything's free until we all believe in freedom of thought until it's something we don't agree with, that sort of stuff. Snapchat, Jonathan, is in one I've been doing.
Yeah, well, talk to me about that for just a second, because I heard a rumor that you're going back, and I guess it's not a rumor. It was in an email.
I sent an email to my list because I want to build a Snapchat audience. Is it something I'm going to rely on? No, but it is my own media. As long as Snapchat doesn't kick me off, it's one of the medias I control. I can sell stuff on it. I can plug the next issue of Email Players. I can tease people. I can give content. I can do whatever I want with it. It's something I want to have. And the fact that everybody's poo-poo-hunting it, like, oh, it's dead, right? Like everything supposedly kills Snapchat off. Good. That means I have less competition in there from other people. It's kind of, right? It's kind of like when email came out and like, oh, nobody uses direct mail anymore. That's why you should be direct mailing more when nobody's using it. Or Paul Hartunian teaches through fax press releases. And even though reporters hate the fax machine, but you have no competition at the fax machine. You have thousands of things you're competing against with the email box. So Snapchat, it's another thing. And I like doing these little videos, these little teachings with my dog or whatever. And I thought it would be kind of good. So I used basic direct response principles to get people on my Snapchat. Within the first 4 days or whatever of when I first promoted it, I had, 200-300 people following me on Snapchat, which isn't bad, I guess. I don't know if that's considered good or not, but considering how many people hate Snapchat. And I got people saying, I'm against this, Ben. I'm against you doing Snapchat. I'm thinking, why do you care? You're still going to get emails from me. And B, it doesn't matter. The fact that there's a lot of people that won't do it actually works to my favor because, again, less competition in the Snapchat thing. So that's another one. Print newsletter, Jonathan. Now, you and I both have a print newsletter. That is your media. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that print. That is your media. You are the one that owns it. You can run other people ads in it. You can run your own ads in it. You can do whatever you want with it. Nobody can take that away. And this is why continuity is like the backbone of many direct response marketing companies. It doesn't have to be a print newsletter, but anything where you get people in, your best buyers into a place like that is good. But a print newsletter is great. A membership site, if you don't want to do print newsletters, a membership site, even though you and I, at least me, I will never touch a membership site again. They can be very profitable. And if I liked dealing with that stuff and I didn't mind it, I would do it. I would do it and I would run ads in it. I would run other people's ads in it, run my own ads in it, if not other people's ads in it. And I would use, it's my media. I own that media. And I would treat it like it's a big newspaper, for example, or a big media company. Even if it's small, that is your media. And if you start looking at these things as your media, it's like your own Fox News channel or whatever you want to call it, you start thinking a lot bigger and a lot differently. Finally, and this is the one that people are like, Ben, you're crazy. Facts list. Jonathan, I will, in 2018, if I haven't done it already, I will be creating a facts list. I guarantee this is going to happen. You just have to do it right. You have to get written permission from them that it's okay to send them promotional stuff and all that. But why not? Nobody is competing with you in the fax machine. I promise you this. I mean, nobody's going to be, unless you happen to have customers that still do business by fax, it's going to be like, I almost am loath to even talk about this, John, because I can just see people like I should have almost kept a lot of this to myself when I think about it. But, for the new year, I want to give people something to think about. And I also know that the vast majority won't do most of this stuff anyway, so it kind of doesn't matter. But that's what I mean by own your own media. And I really do believe this is one of the more valuable episodes we've done in any of these, the old show or this show. And at least to anyone who is listening to it, as they say, to paraphrase the Bible, for those who have ears to see and eyes to hear. So there you go. That's it.
All right. What about next time?
Oh, next time, let me look at my sheet here because I'm not going to pretend like I have it memorized. Oh, so I talked about the old Dan Kennedy newsletters, and there was one that had a profound impact on my psyche, and it always has for the last 15 years straight since I read it. And I'll be talking more about that and the ramifications it has today because I think it's even more important today than it was 15 years ago. So we'll be talking about that.
All right. Looking forward to it. Another bensettle.com podcast is in the can. We'll be back with you next time.
You've been listening to the bensettle.com podcast. To download yourself a free issue of Ben's prestigious $97 per month email players newsletter, which is going to show you 24 ways to write emails people eagerly read, click, and buy from, head on over to www.bensettle.com. Off you go. You know it makes sense.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.